Hello and welcome to Hot Money on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is a show which gets you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I'm Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our experts then. Raja Venkatraman of Chart Advice, Kunal Rambia of The Streets, and Amit Shah of Indiabulls Ventures join me on the show. Let's start with the show and let's get the first stock. And in fact, two of our guests have recommended JSW Steel. So part of the Nifty company. We'll pull up the chart, Raja, if you can come in. You believe there's a positive breakout. It's at 355. Explain the chart. Why you feel it's positive?
Yeah, the metals have been one of the strongest sectors in this year, and after the strong fall which we saw in JSW Steel, there is a good support which has emerged out here, and a trendline support is emerging at this current level. Plus, a bullish candlestick formation called as hammer has emerged, and the strong move to the upside is being seen. Plus, the entire metal pack is witnessing some relief rally. So all this is in combination of introducing it as a buy opportunity.
Okay, it's at 355 right now. What kind of targets are you seeing? What is the stop loss if someone decides to enter this position?
So for a person who is going to trade for a week, a target of around 375 to 385 is the target which I envisage. For a further positional trader for say 15 trading sessions, he could expect a target towards 410. With a stop loss, one could also use a dip opportunity because the stock has given some rise in the last few days. A dip towards 340 levels also can be used.
What's your strict stop loss?
Strict stop loss is 330.
330. Yeah. Why do you say? Because if I am seeing here, there are only 2 or 3 days where it remained at this level. Why are you saying there's too much? Is there enough consolidation? Is that something that you see?
So if you draw a trend line, you get a strong weekly trend line support. Plus, if you draw a descending trend line here, there is a breakout. So all this augurs well for the prices, and this could actually lead to some potential upside.
Okay, so it's a positive view that's coming in on JSW Steel. Thank you so much, Raja. You also have, Kunal, a view on JSW Steel. I believe you have a different chart. If we can pull that out to see what exactly it's a RSI positive divergence. Yes.
Right. So now on this chart, what we can see is from December 2015, this stock is clearly making higher top, higher bottom formation. Recently, from 300 mark, it rose to around 425, and from 425, the recent correction is exactly 78.6% retracement. Okay, so that turns out to be the first reason to look at the chart. Second, look at the candlestick formation. The last candle is turned very bullish, so keeping the stop loss of around 320 on every decline till 320, this stock can be taken as a buying opportunity.
Okay, 320 is the stop loss at strict. Raja had given a stop loss of 320. What kind of targets are you envisaging?
So I'm at least expecting the minimum target of 400 by the next month end. And this, as we can see, that stock is clearly in uptrend. So instead of booking profit at 400, I would trail the stop loss and carry the position for longer period of time.
Okay, so it's an extremely positive view that's coming in on JSW Steel. Thank you so much, Kunal. Amit, since both of our guests have no, you need to stay there right now. I'll call you. Since both of our guests have a view on positive view on JSW Steel, what's your view on JSW Steel?
Sure. So I would tend to agree with them actually. I mean, overall the steel sector has weathered the downside in the market very well. So relatively it has done better. JSW, if you look at the larger trend, it's definitely looking very strong. Also the last correction, not this one, but even the last correction, that it actually ended almost near its 200 EMA, which is where again it has taken its support. So generally, if stock tends to react on where it has done on a priority basis and is showing signs of support coming back, the buying coming back, generally tends to work in favor. So I won't be surprised for a trading gains of about on an upside of 385, 390 kind of a zone.
And what kind of stop loss would you keep?
I would keep the recent low as stop loss, which is 325 or thereabouts.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on JSW Steel. Kunal, before we move on to the next stock, is there a similar trend being seen across all metal stocks, and is JSW the strongest among all metal stocks?
So I would say that the JSW Steel is strongest because it's holding up the longer trend. The other stocks have rebounded very sharply, but they are not in the uptrend the way JSW Steel is.
Okay, but are you seeing similar charts? Are you seeing traction? The metal rally continue? Overall, what's your view on that?
Yes, so I also expect the metal rally to continue, and I think the markets, if at all rebounds from this level to the previous high, this entire sector can be an outperforming sector.
Okay, and what's your view, Raja? Do you agree that the entire metal pack is this thing, and is JSW the strongest among the metal pack?
Yeah, JSW Steel is strongest among the metal pack, and the metals continue to show some kind of outperformance amongst the sectors. And the other stock which I would like to highlight is Tata Steel, which I feel is bottoming out, and one should actually be looking at it from a long-term perspective.
Okay, so JSW Steel, I think it's a consensus positive view that's coming in. Today, as a sector, metals have done extremely well. We'll move on to the next stock, and that is Amit's first pick, and that is Capital First. Amit, if you can join me. We'll pull up the chart of Capital First. It's a bullish pattern that Amit is saying. If you need to explain the chart.
Sure. So this is the near-term, intraday 60-minute chart, which has 45 days of history. So basically, essentially, we are looking at many days of history, but on an intraday chart, which gives a more refined view of the near-term picture. So as we can see, there is an inverse head and shoulder pattern out of which the stock has broken out. Also, it coincides with a broader, triangle pattern. And the thing is, this stock again has, in spite of being a mid-cap stock, this has weathered the downside in the market very well. It's bouncing back from its weekly previous breakout zone, which now is the support zone. So if you look at the weekly picture, daily picture, even yesterday the stock closed quite strong with quite strong volumes. Today again, the stock is strongly up, So yeah, I mean the picture looks quite sharp on the upside. There's a good basing formation, and stocks are. There's a good upside towards 550 levels, which is.
Amit, it's trading at 490 currently.
Right.
What's your target? How more of an upside do you see on the counter?
Yeah, so I see levels of 550 on the upside. So I think that should be decent gains from here.
And is there a stop loss that you would keep?
Yeah, so I would place a stop loss here somewhere around 460, 65 about.
And is this trade of your more of a positional trade or an intraday trade?
No, it's more of a positional trade, but not too long. Probably it should take about a week to two, basically.
Okay, can you highlight the importance of this part also? Because I seem you've highlighted what's...
that was more from a daily RSI point of view. This is the...
So is it showing something that gives a bullish trend?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it is showing the initial signs of the momentum building up. See, it's been making good base for itself.
Okay.
While we have seen the route, kind of route happening in the NBFCs, that did not happen for the Capital First, even on the monthly, it has more or less held towards its, and it's a kind of a double bottom on the monthly charts as well. So the larger picture, if you combine all zones, I think it augurs quite well for the stock.
Okay, Capital First. Thank you so much, Amit.
Yeah,
what about you, Raja? Capital First. What's your view?
Yeah, I agree with Amit that the stock is definitely showing signs of bottoming out. On weekly charts also, there is signs of divergence appearing. But here I would like to wait for the 500 levels to cross, because I find that 500 is a key value area here. And any move above 500, I'm in agreement with Amit for his target of 550.
Okay, 550. Kunal, agree?
So exactly, on weekly chart we can see RSI divergence. Since 4 weeks the stock is in the range of around 450 to 500 mark. So even I will wait for the weekly closing to come above 500, keeping the stop loss of around 475 and the target of 550, which first he highlighted, and the second would be say around 600. More of positional 1.5 month target.
Okay, so if it closes above 500, then only you will get into the counter. Okay, so I think overall the consensus view still is on the bullish side, but Kunal's view is that he will get into the counter only after 500 on a weekly close basis. So that's the view on Capital First. Let's get in the second round of strategy. The next stock, and that is from Raja, is Tata Chemicals. Tata Chemicals, let's pull up the chart. Raja, what's the indicator that you've used, and what makes you bullish on Tata Chemicals?
Yeah, Tata Chemical has been on the decline since April, and now after a brief attempt at its previous high, the fall since mid-September, that also witnessed a sharp decline. What tool I've used here is called as a pitchfork, Andrews pitchfork, and what I find here is that the prices have taken good support at this lower channel. And again, you are having bullish candlestick patterns emerging, and now it's witnessing a strong upside. So now you can see that the prices have actually closed above this line. It's a resistance line called as a median line.
Okay.
And now it is triggering a positive upside, with today being the result. and positive cues, prices always speak ahead of the numbers. So with positive signs coming in, I envisage a strong move to the upside in this.
706 it's currently trading at. Where do you see the target?
So immediate target on a 1 to 2 day basis is at 725. For a 1 week positional play, you can use targets of 750.
Okay, 750. And what's the stop loss that you would keep?
Stop loss is around below 690.
Okay, below 690. My only thing is that the counter has already rallied from levels of 620 to almost 705. So is there more momentum there?
Correct.
Because have people already missed the rally that was there?
No. The reason being, after dipping into the oversold levels, the prices are now moving up. The RSI is inching up. So which definitely says that there is a positive momentum in the stock. So, and if it is augmented by supported by the results, it could take it higher.
Okay, and if the results on the other side, you take your stop loss?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the view that's coming in on Tata Chemicals. Thank you so much, Raja. Kunal, Tata Chemicals, are you bullish?
So, today itself, the stock has broke out of that consolidation zone. Now that 685 to 690 mark was something, which was, the stock was struggling to take out on the higher side. I would wait for the counter to retrace a bit and think of buying near say 690 kind of level, because there is a kind of gap formation for the day. So once it reaches 690, keeping the stop loss of 675, I would think of going long with the target of 740, which is the earliest spike on the higher side.
Okay, Amit, what's your view on Tata Chemicals?
See, broadly, Tata Chemicals, if you see, it's been range bound between 650 and 790. That's a large range. So recently, it did break that range on the downside, but that was a weekly doji formation on the charts. So yes, some bounce back has happened, but I would not be too bullish on this stock at this point of time.
Okay, so I think we've got a little divergent views that are coming in on Tata Chemicals. Raja is extremely bullish on the counter. There could be more potential upside. It's a pitchfork method that he used, but Kunal is saying he will buy on a dip, and that certainly seems to be the view that's also coming in from Amit. But the next stock that we want to talk about is Kunal's pick, and that is MRPL. Kunal, which formation have you used? What technique have you used, and why are you so bullish?
Correct. So look at the longer term trend of the stock. This stock is clearly in downtrend. There were no signs of reversal as of now. Recently what we saw is the volume picking up on the stock. The stock rallied from almost 65 to 85 kind of levels, which is a good spike from the bottom. Now the stock is in consolidation, which is forming a flag pattern. Okay, the best strategy here, there are two strategies which I would adopt. The first is the short term strategy, which is to buy near 75 and exit near say 83 and 84. If the stock reaches above this crosses this 200 days moving average on the higher side, which is at around 87, I would clearly go long on the counter, expecting the target of around 110 to 125 positional kind of, and at that point of time I'll keep the stop loss of around 82.
Okay, 82, and how soon do you see that happening?
So now this entire trend is getting reversed, so it may take couple of months time, but this would be a best bet.
So you're saying only above this level the stock would really fire up, not above this level?
So when the stock is in consolidation, this is the best range to trade. Keeping the stop loss on the lower side, you can go long, and on the higher side, keeping a stop loss of around 1 point, go short. Once it breaks that range on the higher side, that would be the best trade to enter.
Okay, so positive view that's coming in on MRPL. Raja, your view on MRPL?
Yeah, I agree with the view on MRPL. There is a inverted head and shoulder which has been seen on the daily charts, and I would be a buyer above 86. I would like to wait. I would like to see a closing above 86. If a closing is witnessing above 86, then it could lead to a good positive momentum to the upside, because the momentum indicators are definitely indicating a revival. After 2 years of decline, the stock is definitely showing traction of going up. So move above 86, closing above 86 is mandatory. Otherwise, this trend would fizzle out.
Okay, what about you, Amit?
Yes, I would tend to agree, because the stock has from the bottom has rallied quite sharply, and it's not giving up much of its gains. So in a way, it is showing signs of strength. But it needs, as they say, it needs a confirmation about 87 on a closing basis. Then yes, of course, the momentum is further likely to continue on the upside.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on MRPL. Momentum needs, and that's exactly what Kunal also pointed out. The range right now is in a consolidating trading phase. If it breaks about a certain level and goes above the 200 DMA, there could be more potential upside that's coming in on MRPL. And the last stock we want to talk about is Berger Paints. Has managed to do well. We'll bring up the chart if you can join me. You need to explain why you are recommending a buy on the stock.
Sure. See, Berger Paints around these 260, 265 zone, it's been consistently finding support, and that coincides with the on the weekly charts. It was the earlier breakout zone. So, the stock has been resilient and relatively has been outperforming the markets, and it has formed a nice base for itself. Even yesterday's candle was with strong volumes towards the closing highs of the day, so it is showing good classical signs of smart money moving in at lower levels. So things are building up for, and the broader trend, of course, is anyway positive.
Okay, so what's the target and stop loss that you have?
The target, the target is what we had is already achieved. But my sense is, that was the 315 to 320 zone. But broadly, I think this could be one of the very few mid-cap stocks which could actually make all-time fresh highs. So the setup looks quite good. Overall, the formation is quite decent in all time frames. So
Amit, if the counter is at 311 right now, that's the current market price.
Right.
Would you recommend someone to get into this stock at this point of time, or wait for a little bit of consolidation? What's the strategy? Let's say it's been met, it's been a while. Now, if someone is looking at the video right now, he wants a view on Berger Paint, what should he do now?
Sure. So I would look to have some kind of small dip, say something like 2-3% kind of a dip on the stock to actually make a fresh entry for the stock. The near term can actually keep a stop loss here. If someone is a very short-term trader, can
near
keep
280.
a stop loss near 280, a tad below 280, and one can look for higher targets. Momentum is building up, so one should be staying long onto the stock.
Okay, so it's a positive view that's coming in on Berger Paint. Raja, your view on Berger Paint?
Yeah, I agree with him because the Berger Paints has given a strong, it dipped strongly into a value support region around the 250 to 260 zone. And after that, it has formed a double bottom formation, and the breakout today clearly signals a minimum 50 rupees upside. And if anyone doesn't want to initiate long at the current levels, can look to trade into the gap zone around the 295 to 300 mark.
Okay.
And the stock definitely shows potential to cross the upside, which is around 350.
Okay, and Kunal, your view on Berger Paint?
So on the shorter term time frame, what these guys are highlighting is perfect thing. But from March 2014, this stock is clearly making higher top, higher bottom formation. That trend line is exactly retested at around 270 mark.
Okay.
If the daily chart is suggesting a breakout, definitely I would wait for some kind of retracement the way Amit highlighted, around 2 or 3% kind of levels, and then again if the recent high is taken out, that would be a clear momentum buy and keeping the target of all-time high again.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. I think it's a consensus positive view that's coming in on Berger Paint. But before we wrap up, let's go across to Yash Upadhyay, who tells us about the pattern that the Bloomberg terminal has thrown up. I believe it's a future lifestyle fashion.
That's right, Darshan, and keeping up with the theme, it is a bullish call on future lifestyle fashion. Now what has happened today is the green candle over here that you're looking at, that has formed a bullish engulfing pattern. The body of the second candle, that has completely covered the body of the bearish candle in front. Now the efficacy of this indicator is that every time you went long on it, when it turned bullish, you would have got a return of almost 7% over the last 1 year.
Okay, so future lifestyle currently at 370. Raja, any view on future lifestyle?
Yeah, the stock is definitely showing signs of bullishness, and a move above 380 where it's faced a recent set of resistance would definitely be a buy opportunity. And a stop loss, keeping a stop loss below 360, one could actually trade for an upside towards 430.
Okay, what about you, Kunal?
So now I'll think of buying either. If I want to at all buy the stock, I would buy immediately because it's near to the stop loss itself. But the stock is heading for 200 days moving average resistance, which is at around 390. Okay. So now I would wait for the stock to either cross 390 or buy right now, keeping the stop loss of 10 rupees on the low.
Okay, what about you, Amit?
Yeah, I mean, stock is showing quite lethargy, I would say, and it's not doing much. It's been drifting downwards. There's not too much of selling pressure on the downside, but at the same time, there's not much of buying interest also. So, if at all I would want to buy, then I'll buy only above, closing above 385 sort of a zone.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on future lifestyle. We're coming out to the end of the show, but before we end, one important question for our guest. Again, Nifty now at almost 10,500 levels. What's coming first, 11,000 or 10,000 now? I think last time we spoke, all of us, I think you had indicated that there would be a bounce back. Now that bounce back has come. Now what?
Yeah, now actually one should continue to remain positive on the Nifty till the 10,000 level is broken. That's for sure. So one should be looking to trade long, stay with the trend, and dip towards 10,000 to 10,350 zone should be used as an opportunity to initiate long in Nifty.
Okay,
The
what
stop
about-
loss below 10,200.
Okay, Kunal, what's your view on the Nifty?
So now
now?
this Nifty has actually come out of the falling wedge kind of pattern, heading for 200 days moving average as a resistance, which is at around 10,700. I expect a dip till around say 10,350 kind of levels, and then if the reversal continues, then first 11,000.
Okay, you see a dip before any kind of
Yes.
reversal. Amit, what's your view on the Nifty?
Yeah, so view continues to be bullish. Actually, at Indiabulls, of course, we had given a buy at 10,200. That position is still continuing. We had given a target of 10,700. The first one has been achieved, which was 500. I still continue to remain positive. I think even 10,700 would be on a conservative side. See, the kind of down move what we had seen, I think that phase is over. Now this will be a more durable sort of a pullback, and I don't see the recent lows being broken probably next even a month or so. So this will be more of a broad-based rally where even stocks would, I think, should do well. The breadth should be okay. So I think we are moving towards 11,000 zone on the upside.
Okay, so that's a positive view that's coming in on the Nifty. But with that, it's a wrap on today's edition of Hot Money Technicals. Raja, Kunal, and Amit, thank you so much for coming to the studio and joining us on this show. Ask BQ comes up next. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.